I, 26 male, am engaged with a wonderful guy, 42 male, but my family makes a really big deal about our age gap and they all refuse to acknowledge our relationship. What's the math on this one? 42 minus 26? Don't make me pull up my calculator. Math is obviously not our strong suit, you guys. I'm not an accountant for a reason.
Please cut that out.
It's 16-year age gap. Okay, we're tired.
Please cut that out, please.
I know. Lauren got a review where someone said she was dumb and it hurt our feelings.
Well, I would just like to say that
I'm not dumb.
I would just like to say that this is not my full-time job or my part-time job or I'm 27 years old and I've never done anything like this. I'm not an Instagram or just TV personality, and I think one of the things I notice is that when we're doing this, sometimes it is a little nerve-wracking when you know that it's about to go out to the public and that people that you've never met before are able to judge you and your life and your stories that you've told. And then you have a couple of glasses of wine. Morgan's telling stories that are have me flabbergasted. So yeah, sometimes I do sound kind of dumb.
We all have our days.
And I will try my best not to sound dumb.
I'm sorry for we continuously bring up the reviews, but we do it because they do mean so much to us and we truly read every single one, because up until February 10th when our first episode released, I had never operated a fucking mic and a podcast, editing, that was not our jam. So we are still, new kids on the block despite a lot of you finding us already. And so we do appreciate every positive review and really are affected by the negative ones. So just keep that in mind. We love constructive criticism, but maybe just message us on Instagram.
But
okay.
Morgan definitely works so hard, and this whole thing, it keeps her going when you guys post really nice things. It's really awesome.
Thank you.
We love it.
Thank you. I do. I really do.
Yeah.
So back to our last final story.
Okay.
Now that we know that the age gap is 16 years and our math is in need of a refresher.
I don't even know what number.
You added 30.
No, I don't know what I was trying to do.
Yeah, I don't know either, but it was somewhat close, right?
I was minus the 2 off of the, anyway.
Math is hard.
Go on.
I, 26 male, am engaged with a wonderful guy, 42 male, but my family makes a really big deal about our age gap and they all refuse to acknowledge our relationship. Throwaway. Also, we live in EU, so English is not my first language. I met with Pierre when I was 18. I was a freshman in medical school and he was doing his PhD in neuroscience at the time. He is actually a neurologist, but never had time to move academically after his residency, so he started at age 34. We met at a mutual class, which we started as friends. Then it turns into romance in a year. Okay, so didn't start dating until 19. It was my first serious relationship, except abusive high school romance, and as a gay kid who moved to the big city, he held my hand at every stage of my metamorphosis. He was a widow who lost his wife when he was 28 at his son's birth, and I think we healed each other a bit. My family never took it well that I was dating someone that was 16 years older than me. We didn't even have to do the math.
Fuck.
But they were polite. The only one who was fully supportive was my dad, because I think he saw how serene I felt with Pierre. I never knew my mom. She died when I was a year old due to a traffic accident. So sad. Until Pierre, me and my extended family were very close, and they were supportive when I was abused by my high school bully, and they helped me to recover. Our relationship was strained within the time me and Pierre moved on with our relationship. They were still very polite, but I could feel he was unwelcomed, and we then shortly gave up to show to the family events other than weddings and funerals. Dad mostly visited us in the city, and we mostly spent holidays with Pierre's family and with his son, who is 14 years old now. Last month, after 8 years, I proposed to him with the help of his son, and we are currently engaged, waiting to elope. When my extended family heard this, there were phone calls begging me to reconsider, saying that I was abused again and I was making a huge mistake marrying a widower with a teenage boy. I need help to convince them that this is not the deal. I can live by my own anytime I want. I have financial independence, etc. But they still see me as the little kid who was abused and needs to be protected from the big bad guys. Yeah, that's really tough. What are your thoughts?
I think that it's good that his family is looking out for him, or they're trying to look out for him.
Yeah, they have his best interests at heart.
Yeah. However, I think he's 26 at this point, and yes, it is a bit older than him. I think that you can't just assume that he's going for an older guy because of an abusive relationship.
No.
I don't think that's fair to just assume as of his family. And
Yeah.
yes, it's fair to be a little concerned.
Yeah, maybe they're like more concerned about the fact that he could be potentially in another abusive relationship.
I think that's exactly it.
Like the age gap is kind of for them like, oh, this older man is taking advantage of our young, nephew, grandson, whatever,
exactly.
the relationship is. I think, it's definitely a big age gap. It's 16 years, which I think other than the 19-year age gap is one of the biggest ones we've had. But for some reason, I think the fact that they dated for 8 years doesn't really, I think that kind of shows a testament to how strong their relationship is.
I agree.
So this one doesn't really freak me out compared to some of the other stories.
Unless there was behind the scenes stories of abuse throughout these past 8 years,
That
and
we
that's
don't know.
why his family is concerned.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's hard though. And unfortunately, I don't think you're really going to be able to convince your family. Sometimes family just can't be convinced and you just need to block them.
Yeah. I think there's a better way though.
But what if they just what if your family literally said, I hate Jeff. I don't want you with Jeff.
Bye, Jeff.
No.
I know, I'm kidding.
But you could say it was a situation like that and you were with the nicest guy in the world, which it sounds like these two really kind of did save each other in moments of struggle and have this great relationship now. So what if you were in this amazing relationship with the most supportive, nice person and your family still hates him?
What would you do if Jerry, your dad, said fuck Justin?
I've been with Justin now for almost 3 years and it's like he's the kindest, most thoughtful, loving person I've ever been with. And so if he doesn't like him, then that's a red flag on my dad's part.
Yeah, but would you just cut your dad out? Would you actually block him from everything? I think that you would try your hardest to sit down and have a lot of conversations with him.
Yeah, I would.
Maybe even go to therapy with him or something like that.
That's obviously blocking isn't the first immediate step, but it
Yeah.
sounds like he's, spent the past 8 years trying to convince his family. And if he's not convincing them after 8 years, I don't know if he's going to.
So they just recently got engaged,
Yes.
correct? And so that's why they're starting to freak out before they weren't worried about it?
Yeah, they were worried about it and had an issue with it and weren't supportive.
Okay.
But I think when people make big life, decisions or life moves like getting married, getting engaged, having a child together, it kind of cements that relationship and people are finally like, oh, fuck, he's serious. This isn't a phase.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, obviously cutting family off and blocking isn't the first step. You obviously try to establish boundaries and try to remedy the situation. But if you can't do that
Yeah.
and they're going to be toxic.
Yeah, I agree. I think that if anyone in my family really realistically didn't like Jeff for not a good reason,
Yeah,
it would be really hard for me. I don't really know how I would go about that.
I know.
I would try. I would try to have a lot of conversations, but at the end of the day, if it was a really unreasonable reason and I'm really happy with Jeff, then
Yeah.
they're not being a supportive person to me in my life.
No, and they're not being fair.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you drawing this conclusion from when this person has demonstrated nothing but kindness, love? Where are you getting this shit from? I think people too, you always as a family member too, you always have this fear oh, I don't want so-and-so to get hurt. I'm just looking out for you. But at the end of the day, getting hurt is kind of a part of life, unfortunate as it is. So what's to say this 16-year age gap isn't the best relationship this person could be in? What if the next person they dated that was a 2-year age gap abused them?
Right. So true.
So I don't know. I think Actually, I'm not bothered by this age gap.
And I also think too, something that I really believe and have seen is that if someone is fully in love, if your friend is fully in love, you can recommend certain things or point out certain things gently. Or if they ask for advice, you can be honest with them. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to come in and attack the relationship, they're only going to push you out because they're fully in love with this other person. So it's
Yeah.
like you have to be really delicate about that.
Delicate, gentle. I think that's a great way to put it, especially, unfortunately, if someone is in an abusive relationship, because a lot of times those
They'll
individuals
just shut you out.
Yeah, and the abuser will oftentimes shut you out too.
Yeah.
And the last thing you want is to have that person, annihilated from the world and their social supports. But I think, saying it very gently and just offering your support, and it's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard. But you do want to, make sure that they're going to be safe and comfortable and happy. And with the abusive relationships too, like at the end of the day, you might be able to say to those people, "Hey, you're getting abused." That's like saying, "Hey, the sky is blue," but they don't see it as blue. They see it as purple.
Right.
And they're not ready to leave that relationship until they're truly ready a lot of times.
They are ready. They need to figure that out for
Exactly.
themselves. So
Yeah, there's typically a straw that breaks the camel's back, and then it's finally that like the rose-colored glasses come off.
Yeah. So that's why I think it's like the harder with a lot of these stories too, the harder that you try to force people to break up, the more you're just going to push them away from you.
Yeah.
Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you do. You definitely can't force anything on, your friends, family, and whatever. Which one of the top comments says that? You don't get to make your family suspend their beliefs based on their experiences just because their opinions are uncomfortable to you. You can demand politeness, but you cannot expect them to sit by as you make what they think is a mistake. You cannot expect them to not voice their concerns. If this man is worth it to you, you just need to weather it out and give them time, which we said time, consistency.
Yeah.
And then this person goes, this is the best reply here. They don't have to agree with OP's choices, but they do have to respect them.
Agreed.
But that doesn't mean they won't feel a duty to try and save OP from their mistakes, which so we all do. Most of us, all of us listening, because I feel like we bring in the vibes and the good people, but I think we all have our family, friends, loved ones, best interests in heart, and life, relationships is a tough world to navigate and isn't the easiest sometimes.
I got nothing.